Hi everyone, so today's video is going to run you through the pre-pull that we're going to get you to do before you leave the house to get to the swimming sessions until the end of phase 1. Just 10 to 15 minutes worth of work. It's going to highlight some of the key muscle groups that you're going to want to mobilize and double check with yourself to see what you need before you get in the water. So we're going to start off with bent knee iron cross. The mobility block's going to last for 8 reps per exercise. Take a bit longer if you think you need to. And like I said, each element in total should take about 10 minutes. So roughly 4 seconds per side for your bent knee iron cross. Shoulders flat on the ground. Start using your free hand to encourage your knee up and across. So depending on what needs more work, you'll either feel this in your lower back or on the outside of your hips. To change it, try it with a straight leg versus a bent leg, as long as you're making sure that your shoulders stay completely flat on the ground the whole time. And as I go through the video, I'll just try and highlight some different things to consider for each movement. Then you're going to move on from there to angry cat, happy cat. Another one that's quite easy just to go through the motions. So make sure you're in a 4-point kneeling position. Going to really arch your back as much as you possibly can. And then try and get as much rounding from top to bottom as you can. As you go through, just making sure that your hips are stacked over your knees. Breathe out at the bottom. And breathe in as you arch up the top and drive your hands down through the floor. Moving on to the next one, we're going to look at walk out into downward dog. So going through 8 of these should take around 4 seconds each. So don't mind about your back grounding on the toe touch, just get as low as you can. Walk yourself out into a press up position, then drive your head back and your hips up into the air to find that downward dog. With it, if you find that you need to bend your knees in order to keep your back flat, do so. So start from the top again, round your back on the toe touch, walk yourself out, bend your knees a bit, and then push. So the idea is that we're trying to combine hamstring and hip flexibility with upper back flexibility. So moving on again, Spider-Man lunge and rotate. So you're going to go lunge forwards. In Spider-Man, you're going to put your left hand forward if your left foot is in front. Keeping your back straight. Keep your hand close and just rotate round to the ceiling as far as you can. And do that 4 times on one side before you switch. If you need to change position, move your back leg away from you to get more stretch in your back hip. And just gently walk through. And you want to start that rotation through the shoulder rather than just throwing your hand away. Swap over. And remember, grab a cushion if you want some support for your back knee. And try and reach a bit lower each time if you can. Just making sure that it doesn't come at the expense of having a straight back. So you want to avoid being in positions like this. Open your chest up. Keep your body alignment where you need it to be. Rotate as far as you can. Third pairing from the mobility element. You're going to go C march into leg swing. C march, about 15-20 seconds on each side. Slow control. Start with your feet side by side. Think of it like a single leg breaststroke kick. So you're going to turn your foot out, lift your knee round to the front, and then reverse it and go back to where you started. For the side on view, you've also got to make sure that you don't reach yourself forward or towards that leg, so towards the camera from where you're looking or away. Keep everything aligned. And just let your leg move. After you've done an even number on each side, we'll then go into leg swings. So you want to start slow and gentle, and build up gradually as you walk through. So I always aim to try and get my toes up to eye height. If you go too far and start rounding your lower back, you're not going to be warming up the hamstrings the way that you want to. So make sure they're the same on both sides and swing naturally. Then go into the side to side version with the same leg and same idea. Set your stomach, keep your hips facing forwards and build it up gradually like a pendulum. So again, as you walk through, you want to make sure that you're not just throwing your hip side to side, it's your leg that's moving deliberately and with purpose. And swap over, so you're going to go front and back on the other leg. Again, as you go through, if you start to round your lower back, shorten the range of motion a little bit and make sure you can feel a big stretch in your hamstring, and then go side to side. And because you're doing this before you leave the house, if there's any additional work that you think you need to, you can, or get in contact with your coaches or myself so we can try and build it up and try and personalize this a bit more. After you've done leg swings, 8 on each side, you're going to go scat press. So down on the ground, and if you can, do it with knees off the floor. So get into a push-up position, drive your hands down through the floor, and under control, sink down towards the floor. Make sure your shoulders stay in a set position. So arms straight, drive up high, and to make sure all the movement comes from the bottom of your shoulder blades and up, with nothing happening below. So for the last couple, get your spine up as high as you can get it from between your shoulder blades, and then sink down, but keep everything around your shoulder blades stable. Then into IYTW. So head neutral if using a kickboard, make sure that your neck's completely relaxed. Clench your fists. Reach as far as you can overhead for your eye. Under control again, squeeze your elbows into your side at the bottom and pull your shoulders down. Same with the Y. And with T, just making sure you always keep your wrist and your elbow as far off the floor as you can get them. So at no point during this should you be throwing your arms up so that you create movement through your upper back. It's all about mobilizing your shoulders to get a full range of motion and try and get a bit of activation as well through your rotator cuff. After you've done at least 3 reps in each position, that'll wrap up the mobility part and we'll go on to raise. So for raise, you just want to spend 3 minutes trying to get your heart rate up, warm up your muscles a bit more. So we're going to go with I am skipping. For each one, it's just hitting the muscles a bit more specifically for the strokes that you're going to go through. So if you're going through fly, a bit more core work to try and keep yourself upright while your legs move. Okay, then backstroke. Again, you're going to go 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And try and make sure every rep is quite bouncy. You don't want to jump and keep your legs stiff. You should be relaxed. Into breaststroke skipping. So essentially star jumps. It's making sure your feet move outside your shoulders and your knees point out over your toes. And finish off with front roll skipping, or normal skipping with the rope. Just try and build yourself up, hit the floor, and bounce up quickly. Spend as little time on the ground as you can, then take 10 seconds off in between. So we'll go through that one more time for the video. So you're going to start with fly. front crawl, making sure that you've got a good amount of split and good height off the ground. Breaststroke, most important thing, hands come up over your head to the side and your knees point out over your toes. And then front crawl, normal skipping, just minimal ground contact. Almost rabbit-like. Snappy, short contact, and then finish there. Activation, so we're going to try and get a bit more excitability through your muscles. Working through 3 exercises, 30 seconds each. Starting with Superman plank. And the key focus here is going to be about control, keeping your core in the position that you need it to, and squeezing the muscles that you want to work very hard. So Superman plank, you can go kneeling to begin with or without a foam roller on your back. Or you can do the same exercise, but straight leg. Swap over. And just making sure that no matter what you do, your lower back doesn't change position. So you're prioritizing full body alignment from head all the way down to your heel. After that, you're going to go into bent over rows. So normally we would do seated rows, but until the lockdown fully goes away, and we can start doing those again, use your bags, everything that you've been using at home, and just squeeze as hard as you can. So make sure your shoulders are set, your back's neutral. So again, we're just trying to work the same muscle groups that you're going to be using in the water. They might not look like the strokes, but you're going to get as much activation through these exercises as possible. If you don't find that bent over rows do quite enough, do your inverted rows or pullovers, whichever one you prefer. And then finish with press ups. So again, we're going to prioritize slow, controlled reps rather than knocking them out. So roughly 5 per rep. Down control, hold for a second, push yourself back up. And ideally you want to change your hand position after every 2. So start with normal, go a little bit wider, keep your elbows pulled down towards your feet. And then finish off with narrow or do dips depending on what you have available to you. Finishing off then, we're going to go into our priming section. Every part of this, you've got to be snappy, feel quite excited and awake. So we're going to start off with clap press ups. So if you need to, go onto your knees. The idea is just to get an explosive push through your upper body. So that might mean going into a relaxed position on the ground and driving down hard to get yourself back off. You're going to go through 4 repetitions for each of these exercises. And then progress it to having your knees up off the floor. Just make sure you catch yourself and relax rather than just fall down and hurt your wrist. Pause squat jumps, similar idea, 2-second hold at the bottom. In your head, just think, take your marks, go. So from that pause, you're going to try and get as high as you can up towards the ceiling. So again, you're trying to go from 0 to 100. It's important that you keep the priming section with those pause elements in there. Take your marks, go. If you can, if there's someone there that can give you the cue, it's going to help you that much more because the stimulus becomes unpredictable. Makes it a bit more exciting as well. And then to finish off, we're going to have 4 3-second mountain climber bursts. So relax on the floor. And similar idea, ready, go. And then stop. So the whole way through, keep your whole body straight from your hip up to the top of your head. And go. So every single one of them is going to be aggressive and hard as fast as you can. 5 seconds off. So the last thing you do before you get in the car to head to swimming is going to have your heart rate high, very excitable, and hopefully very mobile through every joint you need. As always, if there's any questions, any individual needs that you want addressed, contact your coaches or contact me, and we'll see you soon.